Very shocking. Nobody know the painful secret of BTS Jimin. The heartbreaking truth behind his smile. In the world of performing arts, there are those who dance to be seen, and then there is Jimin, who dances to survive. To the casual observer, Jimin is a figure of ethereal grace and effortless talent, but beneath the shimmering surface lies a story of relentless sacrifice and a battle against a shadow that many never see. Before the world knew his name, Park Jimin was a young student at the Busan High School of Arts, a boy who possessed a rare gift for contemporary dance. Yet, despite his talent, Jimin lived in a state of constant, quiet agitation. According to various media sources, when Jimin decided to move to Seoul to join Big Hit Entertainment, Jimin was entering a world for which he felt entirely unprepared. He was the last member to join the group, arriving with nothing but his passion and a crushing fear that his time was already running out. The early days of training were not a period of growth for Jimin. They were a period of survival. According to several verified interviews and documentary footage, Jimin faced the threat of being cut from the group nearly 8 or 9 times. This constant state of rejection created a deep-seated anxiety that would haunt Jimin for years. He felt he was always one mistake away from being sent back to Busan, a failure in his own eyes. To combat this fear, Jimin pushed himself into a regime of physical and mental exhaustion that was almost beyond human limits. Various media sources and member testimonials suggest that Jimin would often sleep for only 2 or 3 hours a night, spending the rest of his time in the practice room. He was a boy who felt his only worth lay in his perfection, and since he felt imperfect, he punished his body to achieve an impossible standard. The transition from a contemporary dancer to a hip-hop idol was a painful transformation. Jimin struggled to find his vocal identity and felt physically out of place. This was his first great silent struggle, the feeling of being an imposter in a group of talented individuals. According to fan archives and early media reports, Jimin's lack of self-confidence was so severe that he would often hide his face or shy away from the camera. This was not a lack of vanity, but a genuine belief that he was not good enough to be there. There was a heartbreaking moment in a documented reflection where Jimin admitted that during the early years, he didn't know how to love himself, and he looked for that love entirely in the approval of others. If the applause stopped, Jimin felt he would simply disappear. As BTS rose to unprecedented global heights, the pressure on Jimin did not lessen. It transformed into a crushing weight of expectation. According to verified media reports and Jimin's own words in the Burn the Stage series, he struggled immensely with his self-image. This period was marked by dangerous diets and a relentless inner critic that told him he was never thin enough, never talented enough, or never charismatic enough. There were times when the burnout was so severe that Jimin felt he was breaking apart. Various media sources suggest that behind the smiles on stage, there were moments of deep loneliness where Jimin felt he was losing the person he was to the idol the world demanded him to be. The boundary between his passion and his pain began to blur, leading to a state of mental exhaustion that brought him to the very edge of wanting to give up. Yet, it is within this struggle that the true, humane spirit of Jimin began to shine. He did not find his strength in becoming perfect. He found it in accepting his flaws. In his solo song Promise, Jimin made a public pact with himself, and with the world, to no longer be his own worst enemy. This was the moment of his awakening. Jimin realized that his vulnerability was not a weakness, but the very reason people felt so connected to him. He stopped running from his shadows and began to walk through them. This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion is why the world holds Jimin in such high regard. He is a person who has fought a war within himself and chose to sign a peace treaty. People love Jimin not just for his high notes or his fluid movements, but for the profound empathy he carries. Jimin is often described by those who work with him as the emotional glue of the group. According to verified accounts, Jimin is the first to notice when someone else is hurting, often putting his own needs aside to provide comfort. His kindness is not a performance. It is a documented reality, from his quiet donations to education in his hometown to the way he looks at his fans with a gaze of genuine recognition. He has a way of making millions feel like they are the only person in the room. This sincerity is what creates the deep emotional bond between Jimin and his audience. They don't just admire him, they feel protected by his presence. In terms of his professional achievements, Jimin has reached heights that few solo artists can claim. According to verified industry data, Jimin's solo debut album Face made him the first South Korean solo artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 with the track Like Crazy. This was a monumental victory, not just for his career, but for his confidence. According to various media sources, his success has redefined what a K-pop soloist can achieve on the global stage. Yet, despite these record-breaking numbers, Jimin remains a person who finds his greatest fulfillment in the art of the craft itself. He has spoken about his dream of being a performer who can move people's hearts for a lifetime, regardless of the charts or the trophies. Jimin's future is no longer about proving his critics wrong. It is about exploring the depths of his own potential. He is a man who is becoming more whole with every passing day. His goal is to be an artist who speaks the truth, even when it is uncomfortable, and to be a person who continues to grow in kindness and maturity. According to his own recent reflections, Jimin wants to be a good person before he is a good singer, a goal that speaks to the depth of his character. He is learning to breathe in the silence, to find joy in the quiet moments, and to realize that his value was never tied to his performance, but to his heart. When we look at the journey of Jimin, we see a story of a silent, beautiful resilience. It is the story of a boy who was terrified of being invisible, who worked until he became a sun, only to realize that he was most beautiful when he allowed himself to be human. There is a profound sense of respect that settles over us when we consider the path he has walked. Jimin did not just survive the training, the criticism, and the self-doubt. He allowed those fires to refine him into someone of extraordinary grace. As the story of Jimin continues to unfold, there is no need for loud declarations of his greatness. His life is a testament in itself. It is a reminder that the most delicate-looking things are often the strongest. We are left with a quiet, lingering admiration for a man who chose to be kind when he was hurting, and who chose to stay when everything told him to leave. Jimin remains a steady light, a person who teaches us that the greatest dance we will ever perform is the one where we finally learn to walk hand in hand with our own soul. In the silence that follows his performance, there is a deep, unspoken gratitude for the man who showed us that it is okay to be fragile, as long as we never stop moving toward the light.